SourceFed Movie Club. It's me, Jenny, aka ClassyLibrarian. Long time no see, Happy New Year. And you'll never guess what I got for my Christmas present. This is so perfect. So the first time I ever watched this film was for the Frankie Movie Club a couple of months ago. I'll put a link somewhere up on the screen to that. I've already done a review once, so I'll try not to repeat myself. But basically, my key points from watching this film is I love it. I didn't watch it as a child. I was terrified of Doom. I never wanted to watch it ever again. I watched it for the Frankie Movie Club, and there is a feeling of just giddy childlike wonderment that I got from watching this film. I know consciously that it's brilliant animatronics and beautiful puppetry that work with the way that the characters interact with the universe, but in the back of my brain there's this feeling of, wow, how did they do that? The fact that the cartoons are slightly more watercolour, so they have a 3D effect, they've got shadows, the way that they invest into the universe, the way that the actors work with non-existent characters, the way that the camera moves in the environment, where it would be very tempting to have a stationary camera and then just have a drawn-on character, and then they instead move the camera a lot, they use shadows, they use multiple layers to get this depth perception, which, you know, it's not 3D, but you get this feeling like they are actually grounded in this reality, and the actors, particularly Bob Hoskins, sells this so well. It's so wonderful to watch him, and I've said it before, I love this film, but it's not a perfect film. It's not the best film in the world. I really don't like the vast majority of the over-the-top cartoony sequences, particularly Toontown and the first opening sequence. But the moment that you mix up the realities, and for example when Bob Hoskins is around, he just steals the show, and it makes it so much more real and so much more interesting to have a character who has to live in this world. And it's a really interesting cross-genre sort of movie, because if you take out the animation, it is just a kind of weirdly light-hearted noir. It's got all of the classic tropes of a noir, even shots and pathetic fallacy, and all of those really brilliant classic noir themes, and even a couple of little Easter eggs, like the Maltese falcon in one of the shots that he puts his hat on. The little things like that is so well done. And then it's got the actual animation part, which just gives it this sense of life and sense of light-heartedness, which a lot of noirs obviously lack. So I really love the overall atmosphere. I don't particularly care for the cartoons. A lot of Rodger Rabbit's lines just drive me up the wall, but I can ignore him and focus on the rest of the story and focus in on Bob Hobson's character, because I care so much more about him than I do about Roger. My favourite animated character in this has got to be Jessica Rabbit. There's a lot of me that would say I shouldn't like her, or there's a judgmental part of me, as much as I'd like to ignore it, that when I first saw her come out of the stage I was like, ugh, I don't like her. And then I felt immensely guilty when she came up with the line which was, I'm not really bad, I'm just drawn this way. And that puts so much emphasis on the fact that first impressions and characters created specifically for a particular reason, or to try and give you a particular impression. For example, the cartoonist drew Jessica Rabbit in a particular way to give off a particular feeling about her character, and that's not necessarily true, and we shouldn't judge people by what they look like, and that added so much more depth to her character, because she's the femme fatale. You're not supposed to know where she's coming from, you're not supposed to know all of her motives. And she's just such an interesting, complex character that I really like it, and I'm doing my homage to her. I took off the jumper this time. Last time I wore a jumper because I was feeling self-conscious, but you know, New Year, something, something, something. Anyway, quick review. If you watch this as a child, rewatch it, you'll get a huge amount of nostalgia. If, like me, you didn't watch it till you're an adult, there is a level of nostalgia to be had from the fact that it just gives me this sense of wonderment, despite some of it being not the best and some of it being absolutely brilliant. Even if you didn't watch this as a kid, you can get nostalgia from all of the cameo characters that just pop in and out. There's probably so much more I can say about this, but I'm not going to ramble on because you don't want to hear it. That's about it. Hello to everyone, subscribers, otherwise people popping in for the SourceFed people, all of that malarkey. Feel free to comment down below with anything you want to say about this film or anything you want to say to me. I try and reply to as many comments as I possibly can, unless you are super creepy. get out the stress because I can't breathe. Anyway, see you guys next week. Happy New Year.